I want you guys to imagine something. You are a visual learner, you're a kinesthetic learner, you're a auditory learner, and yet throughout your entire school life, you're reading on PowerPoint and reading textbooks. Well, unfortunately, there are two options you can take. You can either hate the fact that school is like this and the majority of life you are going to be handicapped, or you can play the game, which is being a better reader learner. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to read again, and also how to, not only how to read, but how to memorize knowledge from books, okay? All I need from you is your full attention. Nothing more. Don't worry about your books. Like, if you have a book, okay, sure, you can have that. If you have pen and paper, that would be ideal, but all I need is your full attention. Now, disclaimer before we start this video. This video is purely, or the vast majority of the attention is about reading from non-fiction books, right? So if you're watching this video trying to understand an Inspector Calls and how does Priestley present Sheila in Act 2, like, this isn't going to help you whatsoever, right? I don't know about you guys, but during silent reading time, I feel like teachers were really vexed whenever we had non-fiction books. I don't know if this was just a me thing, but whenever we read non-fiction, our teacher's like, no, go find something else, that's not going to help you. And I don't really get why, but anyways, that's my small tangent. This is mainly about non-fiction books. If you want to do some English revision, there are plenty of other channels that can help you with that. I got a 4 in English, I can't really help you too much. I can help you learn from non-fiction books, because I have done that in my real life. So, why you don't like reading? Well, I think this goes without saying. First and foremost, actually this part doesn't, you do like reading. The reason it's perceived that you probably don't like to read is because you're forced to read things that you don't like. Yeah? If you watched something on Netflix, right, which is probably one of the worst things you've ever watched, and you are forced to watch it, you're gonna hate Netflix, right? It's the same thing with working, right? You probably don't hate to work. You really don't, but you're working a job that you don't like. It's the same thing. You're forced to read books you don't like, right? For example, Shakespeare, like, it can be interesting to learn about the early ages of English, but to learn about Shakespeare in 2023, like, get that out of here. Poetry. What is poetry going to do for me in real life? That doesn't help me whatsoever. No, not you. You're a good book. I don't know why I wrote you down. I'm so mad that Of Mice and Men got removed from the syllabus. Early 1900s fiction. Like, bloody hell, I do not care that Arthur Burling, I think that's his name. Is it his name? Arthur? I think it's Arthur. That Arthur Burling represents capitalism, and that at the end of Inspector Calls, he contradicts his point by saying that he would give thousands that Eva Smith would be reborn, and then when it turns out the Inspector Ghoul was a fake inspector all along, he immediately goes back on it because there's no consequences. Why does that help me in any way, shape or form? And then you have to write an essay on it. Like, how does that make sense? So imagine I'm telling you to do something you don't like, and then you need to write an essay on it. So, picture this. Imagine a chef at a restaurant gave you glass, force-fed you glass, right? And then forced you to write a review on it. And not just like a review which is, terrible restaurant, I had glass for dinner, never doing that again, right? And then, no, not a review like that. So it's not just a review of, oh, I liked an Inspector Calls, I liked Macbeth. No. Literally talk about the sharpness of the glass cracks and tell me about how this fine detail of the glass and how it portrays the entire restaurant. You've lost the skill of reading. How has that got anything to do with reading? You're memorizing someone else's analysis of some fiction. And now you've lost the skill to read because now you hate reading. Well, this comes in, goes, you know. Now you can't read. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's as simple as that. You can't read now because you last read a book in 2016 and that book was Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So of course you are not a good reader learner. Right? And above all else, and here's the interesting part, there are alternative ways to gain information. Like from videos. What you're watching right now. Have we got anything behind? No, okay. There are other alternatives to gain information. We already talked about auditory, kinesthetic, and visual learning. Why would you read nowadays? Like, reading is not as fun as all those other ways. Like, reading... What would you rather do? Would you rather, read a book on... I don't know, how the world could possibly end and how the Mayans predicted that the world would end in 2012? Or would you watch a real-life lore video on it and then forget it by the time you put down your phone? Exactly, you're gonna watch the YouTube video on it, aren't you? Because that's just more fun and it seems like you're learning a bit better. But in reality, you're not really learning. When you put your phone away, you're gonna forget what you learned about. It's as simple as that. So, we need to learn how to read. We need to relearn how to read. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, reading is still the most common way of teaching and learning. For God's sakes, I'm giving you a PowerPoint presentation, even though on the first slide, I just took the mick out of it. So you're gonna have to adapt to it. You know what they say, if everyone is pointing at you, if one person's pointing at you, they're the problem. If everyone's pointing at you, you're the problem. So unfortunately, the best way around this, you're gonna have to learn how to read. Also, whether you like it or not, and you know it to be true, books and articles are still the most respected source of information. That's not to say that books don't have bogus, but that is to say, right, let's say I say to somebody, I read a statistic that says, oh god, I need to think of a statistic in my head. Yeah, alright. Oh yeah, why don't I just do that? 5% of all steel that is used in buildings, right, is eligible. Sorry. 5% of all steel that is used to build, yeah, eligible is the right word, is eligible to be reused. So that's when you take the scrap iron from one building and then you use it again for another building after you demolish it. Now let's say my next sentence is, I watched it in a TikTok. You would laugh at me. But if I said, that I read it from a 2017 article on steel reuse, where they did a survey and they asked contractors what they could possibly do to increase the reuse of steel, then okay, that's a more credited source of information. Yeah? It's just like the way that it is, because a lot of the times these books, it's not just one person's opinion on it. It's like there are hundreds of thousands, no, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds, if not thousands, of different case studies all put into one book and one article, right? Years of information has been just embedded into one piece of writing. Versus one video, which probably more often than not is just there for you for the click. And somebody, somewhere, could probably disprove it. That's not to say that books are bogus, that aren't bogus, because there are a lot of bogus books and books that have aged like milk. But, whether you like it or not, books and articles are still the most respected source of information, and you just have to, if you don't want to be misinformed, chances are that if you are reading a book, you won't be. Another thing is when you're gaining information from a book, you also need to be mindful that you are reading, because you're also using the skill of reading, right? So like, if I read this book, right, and I'm thinking, okay, is that the page? I'm good. I'm just going to read 2 sentences. Let's take another example. And remember, these cases I am citing are typical for the experience of thousands of other people. R.V. Crawley was a salesman for the lumber company in New York. Did I say Cromley or Crawley? Crawley admitted that he had been telling hard-boiled lumber inspectors for years that they were wrong. And he had won the arguments too, but it hadn't done any good. For these lumber inspectors, said Mr. Crawley, are like baseball umpires. Once they make a decision, they never change it. So I'm just focusing on 2 things at once. I'm really focusing on the words that I am absorbing, and I'm also absorbing the information, aren't I? And you'll feel good about it, because it feels great. You're actively using your brain rather than just mindlessly watching a video, which you're not paying attention to. Don't lie to me, guys. You will feel good about reading. Let's reframe our mindset towards reading, right? Learning is fun, right? Like, you guys, whether you hate school, you hate books, sure. But learning new information is just fun, isn't it? Just to, like, the little detail of, oh, I never knew that. That's fun, wouldn't you say? And when you read books, by extension, you learn stuff, right? So reading has to be fun. You see what I did there? You agree that learning is fun. When you read books, then you learn stuff. So reading is fun. No, I can't read, blah, 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 blah. English, I'm a visual learner, I'm a auditory learner, I'm a kinesthetic learner. Sorry, not that slide yet. Guys, reading is fun, and it can be fun. Let's reframe your mindset towards reading. If you're still in school, which I think most of you are, because it's my maths channel, of course, you probably hate reading, because you have to do English every day, and your dumb teacher is like, Shakespeare said red implies the lust between... Is there any lustful scenes in Macbeth? No. There's no lust in Macbeth. No, there isn't. Okay. It implies the lust within the scene. I guarantee you, if we dig up Shakespeare's grave, and we say, what did you mean about the red door? Oh, the door was red. It's just part of the world building. What do you want to learn about, though? We've already discussed learning is fun. So So what do you want to learn about? First exercise of the day. Think about a skill, topic or genre that you want to learn about. If you guys can't think of one, actually before I tell you what, I give you some suggestions, pause the video, really think about it. For everyone else, here are some examples. Do you want to learn how to talk with people? Do you want to learn how to have better social skills? Be less awkward in conversations? Quite ironic because I had an awkward pause there, but still. Do you want to learn how to do that? Do you want to learn how to get hench? Do you want to learn how to sleep better? Do you want to learn how to lose body fat fast? Do you want to learn how to improve your cardio? Do you want to learn how to be better at sex? Do you want to learn how to be more efficient with your time? Do you want to learn how to... hold on, give me a second. What else can you learn from the 4-hour work week? Oh yes. Do you want to learn how to do the things that you actually do love? Do that more than the less tedious stuff? Do you want to learn about business and how to make money? Do you want to learn about music? Do you want to learn about sports? Do you want to learn about fantasy, for example? Do you want to learn how to be funny? Do you want to learn some jokes that you can tell your friends? Sorry. There's so many topics to choose from. So just think about it and just realize there is a book for all of those skills. I have them all right here. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But when I read, I don't remember what I read. When I bench 100 kg, the weight doesn't move. Yes. That's supposed to happen. Reading is a skill, so you should suck from reading at books. Remember, you haven't read a book since 2016. That book was Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Of course, you can't read from the book. Or you can't gain knowledge from the book. Duh. Start small, guys. Listen. This book, The 4-Hour Body, which was the book about... this book's got everything, jeez. It's a big book. It's a big book. If I told you, if I gave this to you, and I said, yeah, go on, read it. It'll take you months to read this book. Even if you wanted to. So let it take months. Start small. Read like a paragraph a day. This book doesn't have too much text. Obviously, yeah, it hasn't got too much text. So it's a good book. Like, it's less daunting to beginner readers. But read a book. Paragraph a day. Work your way up. And on that topic... find a book which is easier to understand. All of these books, 4-Hour Body, 4-Hour Work Week, How to Influence and Influence People, The Millionaire Fast Lane, which is over there, and I can't, like, it's being covered by this board and I don't want to move it. Sculpture Pleasant is alright, yeah. I haven't read that in years, I don't know why I mentioned that. The Bohemian Rhapsody book, the Ian Wright autobiography, all of them are nice to read because look at the text. Like, look at the text. I'm just flipping around the page. Look at the text. I don't think you can see on my camera, but it's so spaced apart and it's got easy vocabulary. Don't read To Kill a Mockingbird if you struggle to read Cat in the Hat. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But guys, also don't overthink it. The hardest part about reading is actually doing it. Like, you're probably watching a lot of these videos about, well, my entire channel is about helping you out. I'm solving a problem, an emotional problem, and a problem which is that you do not have the habit of reading. But the actual hardest part of reading is doing it. So now, read a book. If you have a book from earlier, go read it. Like, go read it for literally 1 paragraph. That's all. Alright? If you don't have a book, in the link in the description, I have a website which has PDF books, which are free, so you don't have to pay anything. And you can read books on any genre you want, preferably non-fiction, just because of the nature of the video. But you can read PDFs of books that will help you. Keep in mind, I'm not breaking any laws here, which means these books are in the public domain. Right? Which means these books are old. They are old, and some of them might be a little bit dated. And a few bits of information probably wouldn't have been discovered yet. However, surely, there's something in this, you know, oh, okay, this is a hyperlink, I can actually access it. Surely, there's something in this website that tickles your pickle. There's something there that you are interested in and you can learn from. Right, now that you've finished reading the book, yes, that's right, I'm assuming you've paused and you've actually done the exercises. How can this book help you? Because learning new information is good. Do not let these dumbasses tell you, if you can't do the, what I'm telling you and you can't put it into practice, click off my video because it won't help you. Don't let these morons tell you this. Learning information is good, but it's a lot better if you can put it into practice, okay? So, in the example of the 4-hour body, there's some exercises which I can do to get hench slowly but surely. There's some exercises to lose fat. I haven't gone up to the stuff about sleep and improving sex life and improving cardio and getting stronger. I've only really looked at the fat loss and the gaining muscle. But there's stuff in there that you can try out yourself. But this shouldn't be too foreign to you, because think about a time where you read a textbook or you looked on a Wikipedia article for your homework. Which part do you remember reading the most? Exactly, it's the part that you actually used for the answer that you have. Let's say I have a 3-marker in an exam. No, not an exam, a practice paper, right? And I don't know the answer. I'm gonna read the CGP book, and then I'll realize, oh, this is important for that question. Let's say it's a question on electricity for 3 marks. What's a 3-marker they can ask on electricity? Describe why a voltmeter has to be parallel to whatever you want to measure the voltage of. I don't know the answer. Okay, let me grab the CGP textbook. Again, it's behind that board and I really don't want to move that board. Oh! A voltmeter has high resistance, so the current would get blocked and it wouldn't accurately measure the voltage. And I read that from the CGP book, so okay, now I can extract that piece of information and put it onto the page. It's the exact same thing when you read non-fiction books. In the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, there is something called a yes-yes approach, right? Which is where you get the other person to agree with what you're saying twice, so that on the 3rd time, they also are more likely to agree with you. I literally just used this here. Learning is fun. When you read books, you learn stuff. Reading is fun. I learned that from this book. You know? So, exercise 3. Within 24 hours, I want you guys to read another paragraph of that same book that you've learnt and write down what you've learnt in your own words, okay? Very important, not copy and paste it. Because then you're just as good as those lazy teachers who are like, yep, here's a paragraph, copy this down. All right, next one. Yep, copy this one down. All right, next one. Yep, copy this down. Yeah, next one. Nucleus is the brain of the cell. Yep, copy that down, please. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Yeah, copy that, copy that, copy that. What's that question? It's on the board. Yeah, go write it. No, you don't want to be like that. Write it down in your own words. And then from there, you can really think about how you're going to use that information to help you in real life. Okay, so I'll give you an example. In that same sentence which I read to you from How to Win Friends and Influence People, let's take another example, and remember the cases where I'm citing are typical of experiences of thousands of other people. R.V. Crawley was a salesman, a lumber company, blah 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 blah. And he had won arguments too, but it hadn't done him any good. For lumber inspectors, Mr. Crawley are like baseball umpires. Once they make their decision, they're never going to change it. What can you learn from Dale Carnegie from that one paragraph? Okay, so I think what Dale is trying to tell me, and from my understanding, again, you can be a bit wrong with this, is don't argue with people. Don't be argumentative. Because you're talking about a salesman who literally owned people in discussions, but he never sold anything. So don't argue with them, right? And I'm not copying and pasting. It hadn't done me any good. He had won the arguments, but it hadn't done him good. I'm not copying and pasting this. I'm using my own interpretation. Well, my own interpretation to really understand what the book is trying to say to me. It's like, of course, sometimes it will be set in stone, and it's literally just like a sentence in the book might be, show respect for other people's opinion, never say you're wrong. And in this case, it's like, okay, sure. Then you have to really, in that case, okay, fine. Copy and paste it word for word. But if it's like some long paragraph and it's a page, try and summarize it. Right, anyways. Thank you guys for your full attention. You guys have earned the reward of, my quick tips. Use your finger when you're reading. You know how when we were in primary school, we would always read like this, right? Guess what? Our eyes cannot read horizontally well. So what you can do is literally on the third word, because we're using our peripheral vision as well. On the third word, we can just like literally, like you're here. Oh, this is going to be a bit L's. You're here. And then on the third or fourth word, you can literally run your finger and then read silently in your head. And then you can read a lot faster and gain information a lot quicker. Make your reading environment as enjoyable as possible. Now, we've already discussed that you probably don't like reading. That's why you're on this video. But if you make your reading environment as cozy as possible, it's going to make you more likely to read. And you associate those things, those comfy things, with reading. So reading is comfortable, right? Now, some examples you can do is you can like have a water bottle next to you because, you know, drinking water. Reading is a bit draining, so get some water, hydrate yourself. I went 30 minutes without drinking, Jesus. Another thing you can do is maybe have a cup of tea with you. You could maybe have that, like, pluff your pillows. Like, make it comfortable. Another thing is that I recommend is reading at the same time every day. I personally read best for like 30 minutes before I go to sleep. That's just when I can really read and unwind. And I can actually unwind, you know, because I'm still using my brain, but I'm using my brain extracting information from this book, okay? Yes, I lost my bookmark. It's down there. I'm not getting it until I'm finished recording. But I can read a book before I go to sleep, and then I'll be somewhat happy. And it helps me because I'm already writing the schedule for the day. So, you know, I can just easily associate reading with before bed. Because I'm gonna be comfortable in bed anyway. I'm going to be on my notepad anyway, because I need to write down my schedule for tomorrow. So it just makes sense to read more. For you, it might be something else. Maybe for you, it's first thing in the morning. Maybe for you, it's after lunch. Maybe for you, it's after school. I don't know. But the bottom line is read at the same time every day. It could help you a lot. Right, if this video was worthless, check out these resources. I actually spelled resources correct this time. 4-hour work week and how to win friends and influence people. This entire video could honestly be the first chapter of how to win friends and influence people, which is how to properly, where is it? 9 suggestions on how to get the most out of this book. Page XX, which is the 20 pages before the book, right? Literally, that could be the entire video. So if you guys want to read that, How to Win Friends and Influence People is very good for that. The 4-hour work week obviously is about using your time efficiently and doing the best thing. So of course it's going to be amazing on reading. That's actually where I learned how to do the third word method for reading with your finger. Another one is this video from Mark Manson. Mark Manson has made a lot of videos on self-help books. So definitely go check him out if you want some stuff. And this video by Hamza genuinely just got me into reading back in October. And it helped me very much with my self-improvement journey. So go check out that if nothing else. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this video, please make sure you subscribe. It's the best way to spread the word and to tell everyone that my channel exists. If you have any further questions or comments, ask me down below or join my Discord server if you have like an exam question that you can't really say on the comments, but you're just like, okay, I want to post a question, Sammy, help me answer it. Post it on my Discord server. If you guys need to get some tutoring, drop me an email and we can organize a meeting and a quote. Keep on learning, as you have no idea what you're capable of doing.